So we're on our way back to Redcliffe, and we have to go through a small horde of darkspawn through the village and eventually the castle, and everyone has retreated to the castle where Riordan, the Queen, and a few others are. Were they expecting us to fight our way through everything? How did they get through the horde and into the castle themselves? Did the horde just arrive and they not have to do that? And if so, why didn't we just travel together? Aren't we the leader of the Crown's armies? Wouldn't that have been safer for everyone? Where is the Kingdom's army, or Redcliffe's for that matter? Couldn't they tell that all the townsfolk have entered the castle and we weren't in it, and maybe they should mop up some of the foot soldiers right outside their door? Luckily, there is Zaid here to help us out with some details.
Riordan of the Grey Wardens arrived this morning, just ahead of the Darkspawn. I was told he has urgent news and to send out patrols to watch for your arrival. Then we were attacked.
So go back and get some help. Don't you have an army right behind you? Like, right behind you, the castle doors are right there. So Riordan tells us that the Darkspawn are actually marching north to Denerim, and only a few of them came to Redcliffe. Okay, how the hell does he even know that? Redcliffe is on the southwestern side of the map, and Denerim's on the northeast. Are they coming from the southwestern side and marching in that direction? And they're just going to march right through the country. Okay, why don't we head them off then? How does he know this, and why don't we stop them here?
We must begin a forced march to the capital immediately with what we have. Denerim must be defended at all costs.
So it'll take the Darkspawn 2 days to get there. It'll take us longer than 2 days to march everyone over there. So that means the Darkspawn are well on their way, or closer to the southeastern part of the map. The Darkspawn also have the Archdemon leading the way. Now it makes me kind of question how long it took for me to get from Denerim to Redcliffe. So we're going to go all the way back from whence we came, but only in the morning because we got to get some sleep, and it's not an immediate concern, even though it kind of is. Before then, we can talk to the dwarves, who are thankful that we came to them when we did. Again, a nice touch to the players saying, hey, thanks for your choice. Before that, Riordan tells us why an archdemon must be killed by a Grey Warden, because Grey Wardens have a soul, and Darkspawn do not. Therefore, when a Grey Warden is nearby and the archdemon dies, the Archdemon's essence passes to the Grey Warden, and the Archdemon essence is thus destroyed, along with the Grey Warden. Now, we've seen people throughout the story who have tainted blood and have gone through stages thereof, of being darkspawnified. Technically, they still have their minds intact, no matter how crazy they are. Wouldn't that also suffice, though? Just keep killing the newly spawning dragon, which would take some time for it to become a dragon, of course, until the only thing left on the battlefield is a tainted crazy person who probably wants to die anyway. I'm not going to argue the point here or how much more efficient it is to have a trained soldier nearby, but it seems like we've got other options. This also implies that semi-tainted creatures don't have a soul, an animal or a human or otherwise.
If one of us is not present when the killing blow is made, it is all for nothing. There is no other way.
Therefore, we need Grey Wardens. This is essentially the same problem with Dragon Age Inquisition. The only person who can close those rifts is the Herald. The only people who can stop an Archdemon are the Grey Wardens, which means Grey Wardens shouldn't be fighting. They should be well-armored tanks that sit well behind rows of ballistas and archers and defensive units and wait for said company to soften up the Archdemon and then come riding in so they can strike the finishing blow, or not even strike the finishing blow, just be right there when someone else kills the thing. You wouldn't want a Grey Warden anywhere near the front lines until their job is ready, or else the whole war is lost. There's only 3 of us. We shouldn't be doing any fighting.
We keep it secret for the same reason the joining is kept secret. Who would become a Grey Warden if they knew the end that might await them?
If the joining is secret, how did Queen and Nora know about it?
Without us, there is no hope.
Well, there's plenty of Darkspawn around. It seems the dwarves are constantly fighting them, and they might indeed have some tainted fellows now and again. We just randomly met a few dwarves while we were there, so they were tainted, and we knew from the beginning of the game at Ostagar there were some tainted people there as well who were sick. So no, it's not completely hopeless. Now, maybe the Grey Wardens are special in that they drink is that Archdemon blood concoction, but if on death, Archdemons just jump to the closest Darkspawn, then what's so special about the Archdemon blood? Now, additionally, you don't need Grey Wardens every generation. These things only happen hundreds of years anyway. So you've got the blood for the joining ritual and all these treaties that people still respect. So fighting archdemons is a historically common thing. Signing up to be a Grey Warden when there isn't a blight is kind of silly. So we go talk to Morrigan, and she explains that she can bypass all this killing of an archdemon suicidal business because she can copulate with Alistair, and somehow the essence of the archdemon will seek out this new bundle of cells which won't kill anyone, not even the bundle of cells. Now this is kind of odd since we thought that Grey Wardens were progressively sterile, so it does make some sense that Alistair is the only candidate, and because she's a witch, that is to say magic is involved, so all of this is somehow now possible. This is also the main reason Flemeth sent Morrigan with us, so Morrigan makes a convincing argument for polygamy and sex for the purpose of survival.
Consider what the alternative might be. Do you think Alistair will fail to do his duty as the future king and save his country? And if you take the blow instead, he loses the woman he loves. How do you think he would feel about that?
But we didn't make Alistair the king at the Land's Meet. I guess BioWare screwed up the variations on the choices here.
This is what I get for becoming king. Everyone always brings you the bad news. So what is it then? Rats running amok? Cheese supplies run low? I can take it.
Alistair, did you hit your head? Anora's the queen, and you weren't the king. I guess BioWare screwed up the variations here again. So after Alistair is terrified and the love music plays, we get all our troops to march on Redcliffe because, great time to be marching to and from our previous location. I guess we're training the troops that way. We see scenes of the dwarves leaving from Orzammar, I believe, and the mages from the Mage Tower. We then see the archdemon flying in these weird-looking red skies. And finally, we get our rousing, if not oddly timed speech from Queen Anora. So we all march to Denerim, which has been newly sieged by Darkspawn. We get into combat where there are dozens of units just running around. And if you're a ranged hero, it's basically a shooting gallery. They all go after the melee troops while one might come charging your way, and they'll be picked off before they do any damage to anything.
I suggest taking Alistair and no more than 2 others with you into the city. Anyone you don't bring with you can remain here to prevent more Darkspawn from entering Denerim on our tails.
Okay, so we get into our classic 4-party team and bring Alistair along. But why are we going into the city when the archdemon is flying around? How do we attract it to our location?
We're going to need to reach a high point in the city. I'm thinking the top of Fort Draken might work.
The top of... You want to draw the dragon's attention?
We have little choice. Though I warn you that as soon as we engage the beast, it will call all its generals to help it. I can sense 2 generals in Denerim. You may wish to seek them out before going to Fort Draken.
Okay, that's neat. Riordan's Darkspawn sense can detect Darkspawns by their rank by a long distance. Alright. And this is all to get to the top of Fort Draken, so the archdemon can see us and stupidly come within sword reach. You'd think we'd bring a battery of archers with us, or mages, or get its attention and hopefully not burn us to a crisp from the sky. We then get some cute farewells from our companions, one at a time. Then they, as well as the troops, all form a line, and they cheer us on as we then make a choice of where to fight next. So the first optional stop is the alienage, and there's literally a wooden gate being rammed by an ogre, and we just slaughter everything there. We're about to cross the bridge, and then the archdemon decides to fly in close and destroy the bridge behind us. I guess that tells us, or the audience, that this is a point of no return or another point of no return, even though we're in a giant city and we can easily walk around a bridge. I mean, it didn't actually hurt us. The archdemon just did not like that bridge. Okay. Now the cool thing with all these optional fights is you can summon groups that you've helped along the story, if you find the battles too hard. Now at this stage of the game, the ogres almost fall like dominoes, but still you can do it if you're having a problem. Suddenly the action shifts to Team B, led by whomever you chose previously, and while you defend the gates from even more Darkspawn, you're accompanied by a whole bunch of NPCs to help stop all sorts of baddies spawning down the doorway, which you'd think you'd be better guarded fighting them outside the heavily defended walls, but we seem to have created 2 platforms for archers to pick off anything that comes down the ramp. So, for the most part, the enemies just seem to be running around in confusion while you go chase after them and kill them.
Shall I send word that the gates are secured?
Thank you, Elven Commander Shepard. So then we see a scene of Riordan jumping off a tower to jump onto the back of the quickly moving archdemon. I know that we're supposed to be delivering the fatal blow to the archdemon, and such a blow would be suicidal to a Grey Warden, and technically we don't need to do said blow anymore because of the supposed ritual with Morrigan. But this is not what I had in mind when fighting a dragon when you said we had to get to higher ground. I'm also quite sure we didn't tell Riordan about the ritual with Morrigan. I didn't expect him to be this gung-ho about it, though. But even then, why is he risking his life like this? I thought there'd be some arrows or catapults or magic we can do to attract its attention at this height. You know, damage its wings so it's grounded or something. Maybe that whole be a hero thing got to his head. So I can only guess Riordan is super duper competent in making this jump, and all the physics involved in timing and tracking a dragon through the air to land on its scaly back at something slower than like 120 miles per hour. Riordan is effectively risking the entire war by being a lunatic. So anyway, he ends up slicing the dragon's back, the entire back, with his sword as the archdemon climbs up higher, causing the sword of his to cut down the dragon's back, and then there's no more back left and Riordan just falls to his death. While that seems quite helpful, we kind of need Grey Wardens intact if Morrigan's ritual doesn't actually work. So this was a rather unnecessarily desperate attempt to fight a dragon, especially since we've already fought one before, at least our party has, during our trip for the Urn of Sacred Ashes. We probably also should have told them about that as well. We have some experience in this matter. So we fight through the Palace District, and it is absolutely gigantic. You know, minus the lava plumbing, it's pretty comparable to the amount of stonework at Orzammar. And we kill a whole lot of Darkspawn here. So everything's falling down like dominoes again. And we finally get to fight through Fort Draken again and find Sandal has just slaughtered an entire room full of Darkspawn, and their bodies didn't dissolve into nothing. Okay, how he got here and why, I have no clue. He can still enchant our equipment and sell stuff for us, so that's nice. Thanks, Sandal. Maybe you can use that mysterious Darkspawn killing powers to fight a dragon. No? Just the enchantment? Okay, that's good. So we finally get to the roof of Fort Draken, and there's already troops pelting the archdemon with arrows. Okay, how did they get here? Why did they... What? I thought we were leading the charge here. All right, well, it seems the archdemon is still pretty powerful despite being sliced up his entire back and having arrows pelted him. I mean, there are ballistas you can use to slow it down, and you can just normally hit it as it pops around the battlefield. I mean, this is just a fight scene. Now, because we did the Dark Ritual, when it comes time to kill it, we just grab some random two-handed sword, even though we're not a two-handed warrior, and slice the whole dragon's neck clean open. You know, if we didn't do the ritual, then there'd be this big choice between Alistair and ourselves or Loghain and ourselves, choosing who to sacrifice. But apparently, slicing an entire dragon's neck open is not enough. We need to have more stuff. So we do a downward thrust into the dragon, and there's this magical energy light stuff that just comes coursing out of it. Like we're inserting the sword of the stone into the rock here. Why this is happening, I don't know. I'm just glad there's no visual accompaniment of Morrigan's sexual organs. Anyway, our perspective changes, and we get a good shot of Tegan showing us how ridiculously tall and unsafe Fort Draken's main tower is. Also, I think the beam of light is a bit grandiose in size from far away here, considering we know how wide the platform of the roof is. That archdemon really liked that platform to land specifically on the top of that, despite having its back completely sliced open, and, okay, yeah, it could still fly for some reason. Either way, that's an engineering marvel. So this weird ethereal choir music starts playing. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what we're doing here, aside from being blinded and having our hands stuck to this sword and shaking around like we're being electrocuted. And then... I guess everyone died. Oh, no. It was a spiritual explosion, which also was physically able to push us back and cause property damage. Even though we were right next to it, it wasn't that bad. It was just a small, normal explosion. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Gator.